everyone, John David here. So in this video, I'm gonna share with you some cool things about the iPadOS operating system. Now, this is not a review, by the way. All the things that no other YouTubers have probably told you, I'm gonna tell you because I use the iPad as my full computer replacement. This is where I actually create every single thing. My whole business run off of the iPad. So I can tell you something really cool about the iPadOS operating system. Apple has removed external monitor support from the iPad. All the iPads, I haven't upgraded to that because of that reason. Because I'm gonna hold on to this last iPadOS 16.1 beta that had the monitor support because this is really necessary for me. I'm gonna stick with it because it's quite stable. I mean, I know all the quirks and I know all the bugs that it has, but I also know how to deal with them. The iPadOS 15, I forgot about that, what it was. Like, it is stupid. So now let me show you every single thing about the iPadOS 16 that I find interesting and that I find like there is a change. So first and foremost thing, as you can see, this is the iPadOS home screen, like the normal home screen on the monitor side. But one thing that I have to say here is that if you want to access the control center or from the right hand corner side or the the notification center from this side, it's not possible. Why, you would ask? I don't know, it's Apple's thing. Now, in terms of crashing, I have seen tons of crashes here, but one thing I have to say more specifically is that when you are doing some stupid stuff like like opening up tons of applications one by one after another, you're gonna face these things. But when you are doing it more responsibly, like you know that you are in a beta operating system, you're running a beta operating system, everything is fine. Now I can easily crash it just in a moment, but here I'm going to show you something different. So first and foremost, the first trick that you're going to face a problematic is that when you're trying to scroll right here, let's say, so you can do it with the mouse scrolling button like this button. And if you're thinking, then yeah, you don't need a magic keyboard and a trackpad to do it. You can do it with a third-party keyboard and mouse as well. I'm doing it. And even if you have not connected to any mouse and keyboard, you can still have this full screen support on the M1 iPads. Going to the settings, and then you go to display and brightness, then arrangement, and then you can turn off this mode, the mirror display, and it will be up there. You can do it on the iPad, and then it will be here like full screen. But you're not going to be able to control that. So that's the point. Now, in terms of using it, like, let me say it, some things like, let's say you want to scroll up and down. It's easy. It's like this scroll switch is something that does the job fine. But what if I say you that there are certain places where you're not going to be able to do it? Let's say a small little example would be in this application. Let's say the one thing would be like this. So now let's say if I want to move this one from left to right, how I'm going to do it? Now you're probably thinking, oh yeah, this is works. But what if I say I want to increase the size? How are we going to do it? I'm clicking on the size button, but then you say like, oh yeah, there is a plus and minus button, you can do it, but you have to wait a little bit more. That's it. With the touchscreen, you can just easily like tap and just do this scrolling thing, and it will do much more easier. But what if I say you, how are you going to rotate this? Because this is where even if you click and move it, it doesn't work. The only thing that you have to do is that press the shift button and then use the scrolling. Like this is the scrolling. You see, you need to press the shift button on your keyboard and then do it. It will just rotate. You see? And this thing works everywhere. Like when you think about the zooming in and out, everything. And even if I want to slide here and there, I can do all of that. So the horizontal scrolling is something that you can now do with like a shift button and the mouse scrolling button, which is fantastic if you don't have a trackpad. Like let's say you have a magic keyboard, then you have a magic keyboard, then you can easily do it with the trackpad, but otherwise you are not going to be able to. Now, one else thing that you're probably thinking is that, now I know that we know that this button works, that there is this move to iPad button, and the same goes right here. You can see that I'm currently recording on my iPad, so that's doing over there. But what if I say that whatever we wanted, Apple has given that, and this came with the iPadOS 16.1. Nobody has talked about that one, but I have found it immediately because I was always looking for it. This is what you can do. You can just straight out drag. Oh, you see, it's crashed. Yeah, it did it. Wait a minute. So is it recording still, or is it just crashing? No. See, it's still recording. Like I haven't lost any data in between. Like even though I was kind of like doing stupid stuff and it crashed, but yeah, you get the point, right? So it didn't crash. The process was working. It just reset to the home screen. That's the only thing. Now, what if I say you that you can have two apps like this, and then you can actually drag it, and let me up the brightness of the iPad a little bit so you can see it. Now I can move this thing right from here. So now, as I was saying, so you have the button for the move to display and move to iPad. But what if I say you that there is this option, just you can drag it, and you see this is just going from in and out. Yes, it is going directly in and out of this display to that display. So yeah, this is pretty much possible with any application. It works. Like you can have Instagram. Now there are some things that you will face sometimes because it's still in beta operating system, but still this has been working since the iPadOS 16 update, 16.1 update, and in every single betas of the iPadOS 16.1 till the beta I am on. Now let's come to the iPadOS app situation, and there are some things you need to know. So first and foremost thing, there are tons of apps that are still not supported on the iPad, like literally they still don't work properly. The first one app would be in front of you that is working, but I'm gonna move it to the iPad so that it's just recording over there. Let me show you something right up here. So the first application would be settings. So you know that setting application has always been that one stubborn application. iPad has three different kind of applications. One is an iPhone application, one is a flexible one, and the other one is the stubborn one. The stubborn ones are like this. They usually take up the full screen. They don't want to budge at all. Like they don't want to move. They don't want to do anything. You can't have anything other than split over or slide over screen on the iPadOS 15 or the older. But here on the iPadOS 16, it's working with the first beta. Then now you can actually have them with other applications. You see here, the setting is with another application. Now, let me make them to the light version so you can see it better. You see that this thing is working. This is flexible. Like it is just like if you go very close, it will be like the portrait mode option. And if you go this way, it will go to as big as this. And it will be like a landscape mode. Now, this thing really works well. Now, this is like a dream come true, literally saying, because I was having a lot of problems with it. Now, I'm going to come back to the iPhone application. So one of the iPhone application would be my AC remote application is an iPhone application. So this thing has no other option than being an iPhone application. So it's always in that 16:9 mode. And you can go this small if you want, or you can want to have like this big of an app. So now you can have a one flexible app. So which means this one, it's very flexible. You can just go with any kind of I don't know what to say about it. I forgot the word. Like you can just go as small as you want. You can go as wide as you want. Like not exactly, but quite a lot. Now I have made the self to move away from my whole home screen because I just don't really love the self. Like whatever Apple is calling that, I don't know. They probably have named it something stupid like like stage or something like that. I don't care. This is a thing that I think it's more of a gimmick than anything else. It doesn't matter at all. Like you can flick between the like globe key and arrow key easily. So you don't have to care about that at all. I don't find that useful. So I have disabled that. I don't see it at all. Like from the first beta, I actually disabled it, but I have enabled this one. If you see, let me show you. So if you go to Stage Manager, you see I always have the dock enabled. So even it's on the iPad or the external display, the dock is always enabled because I need the dock all the time, even though I know the shortcut button like function A to get the dock. But the thing is that if you go to like a bigger, let's say I want to stretch it out a little bit more. So I'm going right this way. Once I go it's getting hidden, right? Now you can access it by moving your cursor all the way down. So you can have this once, and then you can do the same thing again. You can just touch the edge with the mouse cursor, then it will go to the home screen, and then you can do it again to go to the multitasking UI. And now this is something that you have also used on the like iPadOS 15. It has been there for a very long time. So these are the app situations, and no, there are no pro apps. I know that, but this update is not about that. This update is all about the iPad not getting the proper things that it should have had since the first iPadOS operating system, because it should have been different from the blown up Android blown up iPhone operating system. It should have been this one since the first. At least Apple should have provided this with the iPadOS 15, but they didn't because of the pandemic or stuff like that. I don't know. Now, a few other things that also are there, like I don't really care about this lock screen changes or notification changes. Those are very minor. I'm not going to talk about those. The most notable things that I want to talk about are these major things, like how usable this is. I usually have my iPad actually closed like closed in the way, like I put the lid on of the flip cover so that I don't see the iPad display. It's distracting, nothing else. So what happened is that if I turn off that one and then I press the home button on my keyboard, and then I can just log in with the passcode, and simple as that, I can go to here and I can use it like as if my iPad is in a clamshell mode, but it is not. It's kind of like a illusion, but it's a okay, fine. It's doable. Now I can control the iPad's brightness easily with keyboard shortcuts, like press the button and then do it. Now I do it with a Siri shortcut. So if you are confused about that, it's with the Siri shortcut. So that's what I do. So that's what I'm trying to say here, is that the iPadOS has become that operating system that I probably say like this is one of the best iPadOS update ever. Now, it is not coming to all the iPads. I know that A12Z iPad, the 2018 iPad Pro and 2020 iPad Pros are also getting the Stage Manager, which is good actually, because if you don't know, the Stage Manager might look gimmicky, but once you use the iPad on a portrait screen, that's where the thing comes in. Like I will show you a B-roll of it. It looks real gorgeous. Sometimes it comes in real handy. Like I love the Stage Manager feature. It may not be the best implementation. I'm not saying this is anywhere close to the PC thing or stuff like that. It's not. But because it has to deal with the iPad kind of applications like this stubborn application, this iPhone application, this flexible application, and all the stuff. At the same time, it has to be a very unique tool like iPad. This is the best thing that Apple has done. Now, Apple has removed this because Apple want to work on the Stage Manager and its stability. And anyway, so what I was talking about is that Apple actually strategically did it, like the bringing in the Stage Manager feature to the older iPad Pros, because if they bring that to the older iPads, the iPad Pros, then the user base will be a lot more. So the developers will be forced to update their apps to better support the iPadOS 15 updates. Now, if you don't know, the whole Stage Manager thing might seem gimmick, but this is the base of the whole external display support. The external display is nothing more than a stretched out Apple screen, like iPad screen. It is just the wallpaper and this whole iPad dock. The dock can't be stretched to here. The dock is only possible as long as it is not exceeding that length of that, like the iPad. So you get what I'm trying to say. It's the iPad dock that is just copy and pasted right here, and the Stage Manager is just getting more space. That's probably it. So the Stage Manager, even though it might seem gimmick, but that is the base of this external display support. So if Apple actually betters that Stage Manager UI or Stage Manager experience over time, then the whole external display support will also automatically be better. And that's the simple trick that Apple is trying to do here. Like they're going to increase the user base, so developers will be forced to update there, because there are very few people who are on the iPadOS with M1. Literally saying, because the M1 iPad Pros haven't sold that well. The iPad market is already declining, and on top of that, iPad Air 5 launched at a time when people have already bought the iPad Air 4. So the user base of the M1 iPad specifically are much less than the A12 series or A13 or A13, A40. You get the point. Like the A series iPads are majority here. So that's the only reason why Apple brought that feature to the Pro model, so they can say, like, they can brag like, oh yeah, it's a Pro feature, so it's coming to the bigger model, so it's fine. So at the same time, they can be like, oh yeah, the point is that we have a user base, a bigger user base, so now they will be forced to better the UI and support more desktop class UI elements and stuff like that. It's not desktop apps, it's just desktop class apps, means the top toolbar or stuff like that, like on the Files application, if you probably see this top part, this whole select button and this sort button and this add folder button and all these buttons, these are new buttons, and these things are something that if you go right here and you see, these are things that I find really useful at the same time, but these are the desktop class thing. This is the desktop class thing, and this is not adopted by any other applications as much. I haven't seen anything, but what I'm trying to say here is that now developers will be forced to integrate these things in their own app, and that will automatically upgrade the user experience on a full screen UI. So you get what I'm trying to say. So the future updates, like the future iPads with M2 chip or M3 chip or whatever, they will basically have this base and they will grow from there. Overall, and there is another thing I would say, like the iPad 2018 and 2020 haven't got the full screen support, because the full screen support means if I take a screenshot right at this moment, I will show you something. Look at this. So the display zoom on 2K monitor, this is the 2K monitor. So display zoom on 2K monitor is kept at 2. One is larger and one is the default variant. The default is currently what you're seeing. It's the scaled variant. It scales amazing. iPads scale amazingly well on every other displays. Like if you have, let's say, an ultra wide monitor or anything like that, or even if you have dual up ergo monitor, it will scale perfectly well. I just love it. Now, on top of that, if you have a 1080 monitor, which I also have at the bottom, like if you see my stacked monitor setup, that's where my PC is connected. So when I was using the first iPad betas with this monitor, I didn't have this option. I had only one option. That was the default, that was the larger text variant, not the default option. The default option came with the 2K monitor, and if you have 4K and above, like Pro Display XDR or any other 4K displays, then you're gonna get another one that it will be the more space. So that is better if you have a 4K monitor, but that's probably it. So so I took all the screenshots. So let me show you the screenshot first. Now I'm gonna make it full screen. You can do it with the function app. So this is the screenshot. Those stupid features sort of work here. Sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's not, like the drag and drop feature. It's AI capable. It is an interesting feature, but it's not something that I find a lot useful. The edges are not that good. So if I take a screenshot and I show you the size of it, if you see that properly. Now if you can't see, this is a 14 megapixel photo. So the 14 megapixel means the resolution of this one has been scaled in a way that now it's showing a 14 megapixel like a frame per second, like 60 frames per second, because it's running at 60 hertz. So 60 14 megapixel frames per second, that's a lot of data passing through that USB-C Thunderbolt port. And that's the only reason why Apple might just be saying like, oh yeah, that is not coming to the 2018 or 2020 iPad Pros, because they are not going to be able to deliver that amount of data at the same time. Like, even though I would probably still say like, how much is it? Like it's probably like 800 or 900 Mbps of per second data is getting transferred from the iPad to the monitor. That's my calculation. So even if you think like, because I have screenshots that are 14, 15 MB, in the past it was not the case. Now every iPad screenshots are also insanely big. Like if I show you the screenshot of the iPad as well, it's also real big. It's crazy. Even though it's taking at a 5 megapixel, but it's still crazy big. So what I'm trying to say here is that the data transfer are kind of capped, because if you connect an USB-C hub, then you're going to connect a lot of other peripherals at the same time. Like my studio monitors are connected to my iPad, and so many other stuff, the monitor, the Ethernet, and so many stuff are connected, and a few other accessories connected too. So in that scenario, the iPad has to manage all those things, because that is Thunderbolt port, even though it's still not as powerful as the MacBook's Thunderbolt port, but because it's a Thunderbolt 4 port, so it has like the capability of it's insane, which is like 4 or 5 times more than the 2020 iPad Pro's one. Like 2020 iPad Pro only supports 10 gigabit per second, like the bandwidth is. This is where you have 40 gigabit per second. You get what I'm trying to say, and that too, the chips are not that capable. Like I'm not saying they're not powerful, but they're not capable of doing the virtual memory swap or stuff like that. So that's probably the reason why Apple kept this. You see that it is already crashing quite a lot. So you see that how taxing it is. I'm not saying the M1 chip is not capable. It is running a full macOS operating system on the Mac Mini, MacBook Air M1. So yeah, plenty capable, but because it's a new kind of a thing on the iPad, and maybe iPad is more taxing on the chips because it has always been that restricted one. I don't know. I don't have a proper explanation for you, but what I'm trying to say is it's still a lot of taxing on iPads, on the M1 iPad as well. I can push the M1 iPad to make it slower, which I couldn't do in the iPadOS 15 at all. Now I can do it. I can make the iPad much slower device now. So it's mostly thanks to the iPadOS 16, because I can right now, like let's say I can export like full-fledged LumaFusion video right here. I can at the same time upload a video on YouTube right here. I can record a audio right over there. I can watch something over there. I can do like 5-6 tabs, heavy duty tasks at the same time, like watching a 2K video, uploading a video right here, exporting a video, or editing a video, or scrolling through the website. And I can do so many stuff at the same time using that iPad. That kind of taxing, which it was not the case with the iPadOS 15. Like iPadOS 15 was really a small little update. Like you barely had the option to do anything other than like 2 apps at the same time. So it used to even crash. You see, like you have already seen quite a lot of crashes that the voice recording hasn't even like stopped at all. Like it was still doing it in the background. In the iPadOS 15, it would have like just stopped like long time back. I would have been frustrated as okay, you know that thing. So the iPadOS has unlocked the potential. The iPadOS 16 update has unlocked the iPad's potential by a lot. Whatever other people would say, I don't care. Like, a lot of other YouTubers are coming up and they're saying like, oh no, this is not a good update. This is still a stupid update. It's still not capable enough to become a Mac. I don't want it to become a Mac. If you want a Mac, go buy a Mac. If you want a PC, buy a PC. Just don't compare them this way. I don't really like that. I love the iPadOS as it is. Now, there are improvements I want. Every operating system has their own flaws. Even a Windows 11, being that mature operating system, Windows 10 has problems. But I'm not trying to say these things. Now, basic features, these basic kind of features, this full monitor support and all these things, slowly is coming, and we have to give Apple the time to improve it. And that's what I'm hoping. Like, I hope that one day Apple will bring this external monitor support and this pop-up window kind of feature from, like, I was watching like Samsung DeX videos. I'm like, I used to use Samsung DeX. I love it. I used to use it and I'm like, oh yeah, why iPads are not coming with it? So now you have the option. So what I'm trying to say is that iPad as its own, I love it. Every single bit of it. Now it is improving. That's the best part. And at the same time, you see that the tablet market is also declining. So already, like, people are not buying the M1 iPads because there is nothing interesting. So Apple is trying to improve so much. Now we can expect something real good out of the iPadOS operating system. Maybe not this year, because this year, this is the whole thing that we're getting, right? Next year, we're gonna get something even more powerful, and I can totally expect that. I'm not saying you have to have your hopes high, really high. No. Because we love surprises, right? And I'm here to tell you, like, if something get leaked, I will tell you on my alarm show episode. That's why I cover the Apple stuffs more. I think what it is fantastic, and I'm gonna hold on to this variant of the iPadOS operating system because unless Apple gives me the or gives the M1 user the full monitor support back, I'm not gonna upgrade to the iPadOS newest betas at all. I'm not gonna do it. So yeah, that's about it. If you want to see more episodes like this, then definitely do like this video and do subscribe this channel. Also, visit my website, joindavid.com, link down below. It's for everything. You're gonna get all these and more tech news way faster than these videos. So definitely visit it. You can also find a lot of 8K wallpapers over there. So why not? Just visit it. Until the next episode, bye and take care.